What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Flowers, and today I'm gonna be discussing an album. I've been listening to this album a lot lately. It's just been fitting with my vibe these days. So, I just was like, I want to do a show about this and give it its recognition, and I'm pretty sure it got its recognition already, but not from my point of view. So today I'm gonna be talking about Kendrick Lamar to Pimp a Butterfly. Now, before I get into this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, leave some comments, and, do what you do so the algorithms can go up. So today I'm going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar, Pimp a Butterfly. And this album, to me, is my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. Good Kid, Mad City is also amazing, also damn. But I think this album, it just sits on the shelf of its own, like, especially being the sophomore album. Like, usually when people make their sophomore album, especially in hip hop, they usually repeat the same formula kind of that they started from. But with this one, he took a total left turn. Like, it's a jazz influence, to me, Los Angeles sounding album. It's very self-reflective. It's very pro-black. It's very suicidal. Like, it's everything that's like you wouldn't think he would go to with his second album, but he took the risk, and I think that's what made this album such a success and such a pivotal album in just music and just hip hop and music in general. And I just wanted to talk about some of my favorite highlights on the album. I don't want to do a track by track breakdown because it's like 18 records, but I just wanted to go through and just touch on things that I felt what just made this album amazing. The concept of the album explores themes of self-love and hate and fame and depression, violence, race, politics, spoken word poems, the interviews that he used to weave, the interview at the end where he talks to Tupac, and the poem that he kind of staggers through every other song, and like every other song, he adds another piece to the poem, which he completes at the end when he's talking to Tupac. He says, like, I remember you were conflicted. Right? I just think that's dope, that just the artistic standpoint he took on this album, plus the music. Like, the music itself is more live instrumentation and that he didn't really have on the first album. The first album was more just hip-hop album. Like, it was like your classic hip-hop album. Great story, great songs, but it was more palatable and more digestible to a regular hip hop fan or just fans in general. But this one you had to sit with and just take it in. I remember playing it with a friend, and like it was just like, like, ain't nothing standing out to me until All Right came on. I'm like, you hear what he talking about? Like this shit is just, it's just dope that he got to this on his second album. And the third album, he did what I think, well, I always say the artists do. Like, Dan was like, I'm jaded. Like, when he says, like, last album I tried to say to black people, but fuck y'all. But he did give the effort on this album and just the story behind it. And the album was supposed to be called To Pimp a Caterpillar at first, Tupac, the acronym for Tupac for him, but he changed it to Pimp a Butterfly at the end just to fit more with his story and things of that nature, which I thought was also cool. I think To Pimp a Butterfly and the poem he actually says to Tupac at the end it's way more better than just To Pimp a Caterpillar. Just like, how the caterpillar being like the person basically being like Kendrick Lamar and living in the hood and stuck in this cocoon, and people don't really appreciate the caterpillar. They kind of look down on it, but they admire the butterfly being like his gift. So it was really dope. Just that. So I'm gonna go through a couple songs that just stuck out to me and some of my favorites on the album, and just things that that were just pretty cool to me. So to start with Wesley's theme, Wesley Snipes, if he went to jail for taxes and bankruptcy. And his taxes is something that I could tell really is a thing that ponders on Kendrick's mind, because he spoke about it on Wesley's Theory, and he also spoke about it on Damn, I forget the song, but he talks about like the Rihanna situation and when Rihanna lawyer took all her money. I think that's something that losing money and taxes is something that really haunts his mind. But just the fact that the album starts off with it probably turned all the white fans off, like, every nigga is a star. And he goes into this where he talks about the rap game, and the album's pretty much like talks about that as well. But he says like, at first I did love you, but now I just want to fuck. Meaning I just want to pimp you and get the shit that I need to get out of it, not fall in love with you. At first I did love, now I just want to fuck. Late nights thinking of you until I got my nut. Like I used to dream about being one of the biggest rappers in the world, and then I got it. Like, and now it's not what I envision it to be. You like toss and turn, lesson learned. You was my first girlfriend, and bridges burned, like all across the board, destroyed. And then the fact that he, describes like, man, when I get on, homie, I'm gonna get a fool. Like, and just he describes all the things that once he gets on that he would do and celebrate. And then the Dr. Dre voice note comes in at the middle, like, remember you came out to the house and you like said you wanted a house like mine, but the real thing is like, the easy part is getting it, but the hardest part is keeping it, motherfucker. And then he goes into Lucy, which is a character that he, short for Lucifer, that he weaves in and out this album so much. Like, what you want? You a house? You a car? 40 acres and a mule? Like he keeps reiterating that into it, like, oh, you can have it all, go ahead, you deserve it, you're a Gemini, you gotta cop everything 2 times. Like just the evils of things that can haunt you with being a new successful rapper, and just all this new fame and things that nature. And that song is just so many levels that is just dope. And they go on for free when it kind of continues the Uncle Sam kind of thing, like the girl, like at the beginning, like, nigga, you ain't popping like that, my Uncle Sam gonna fuck you up, kind of shit like that. And then she like, you know what, this dick ain't free, and you talking to America, like, America, you bitch, I picked cotton and blah blah blah, and now my dick ain't free, like now I'm in charge and now I'm the master. And then that flows into like King Kunta, which is it's just dope. Like if you see the picture he's painting, like to go into King Kunta, and if you know about what that is, and then but to be like this, to turn it into this like this braggadocious rap character, and like a MC barring other, like having a ghostwriter is just out of pocket and out of line. And some might called it a diss towards Drake at the time, but like just the like but most of y'all sharing bars, like you got the bottom bunk in a 2-man cell, and it's like, so 2-man cell, something's in the water, and he's like, and if I got a brown nose for some gold, then I'd rather be a bum than a motherfucking baller. Like Jesus Christ, like that's just to go into like, I am the shit, I'm King Kunta. Like everybody want to cut the legs off him. Politicians, fellow musicians, tax people, like record company, everybody want to cut the legs off King Kunta. Black man taking no losses. Like I just thought that was dope. And then to go into Institutionalized, which is, it's a great, now that I'm speaking about it, like, and really breaking it down out loud, like Institutionalized, to go into that, and like that story of just being institutionalized in his own mind. Like he says something in the first verse of just like, he don't even really know what it to be this rap image and things of that nature. He's trapped in his own mind of trying to be this rapper, and he don't even know what that might be, like this great rapper, and he don't know what that might be. And then it goes into the second part of the song where he talks about his friends and everything being institutionalized, and how his friends are talking like, man, we're gonna rob them people we're gonna rob the other rappers at the BET Awards. We getting them chains, and we call that robbing from the rich and giving back to the poor type shit. And like the hook of Bilal just saying, his grandma said shit don't change until you wipe your ass, nigga. Like just, you can't expect to be around the same things and the same people and then try to expose. I mean, you should always be open to do that, but you can't be frightened by the consequences, because you know who these people are, you know who you are, you just know, like, I know everything. I just think that was a dope thing. And have Snoop Dogg on there, it kind of gives me like this Slick Rick kind of feel. But I think he was a perfect piece to add to that. These Walls, one of my favorite records on the album. Just the whole idea of just, I had it down somewhere, like everything around these walls. The old saying, if these walls could talk. And then he relates it to like a woman's vagina, but he relates it to like prison and these walls of his own mind. Like everything, like I said, is very self-reflective. And he talks about the woman that he's having sex with or seeing has a kid by the guy that's in jail who killed his homie, who's actually snitching. like you kill homie and got a dumb criminal got indicted the same night. Like his story, he's one of the best storytellers I think ever in hip hop. Just the way that he connects all these dots, and Anna Wise on the hook, I think, was a perfect addition. Bilal on there was a perfect addition. But just that whole the whole analogy of these walls. And the video was dope too. Like the video is like this fun house party kind of vibe and things of that nature. It's pretty fun to I guess counteract how serious the actual song is. Like it's this serious record, but it's on like this polite beat. And then go into like trapped inside these walls, right? Like, and then next song is You, where he's literally having a breakdown in a hotel room. Like you could tell, like at the end of the verse he said, well, the end of the song he says like, and you know, don't make me tell them about your tendencies to have these suicidal thoughts and things of that nature, and how depressed you are, and how much fame you got, and you're leaving behind the people that you say you love. Your friend brother got shot and you ain't even show up to the hospital, but you did a FaceTime call thinking that was enough. You thought he was gonna make it, it wasn't enough. And he talks about the sister, which I think relates to like the first album and things of that nature, just the stories that he bringing in, and how he's feeling self-doubting himself, and all this shit is waiting on him. Yeah, I'm the biggest rapper in the world, but I got my own insecurities, I got my own battles that I'm facing. I'm not you preach to 100,000 but you never reached you ain't no leader. Like just the things that he's saying to the mirror is just, and the video is dope too, but just the things that he's saying is just like, man, like this is really deep. This is really dope. I can't believe he took it there the first listen and going to All Right, which I think is one of his biggest songs and most impactful songs that he's ever created. Just that story and the fact that, you know, we say fuck Popo, they want to kill us dead in the street for show, and then to have the anchor talk about that on Damn as the intro is like, he wants to kill. He says, forget the Popo. They want to kill us dead in the street for show. And then he's like, see, this is why I said hip hop has done more harm to the black community than racism. I was like, what? What anchor said this on TV? Like, that's some of the dumbest shit. Like, why did y'all let that fly? Like, and use Kendrick Lamar as like, out of all the rappers, you're going to use Kendrick Lamar as that centerpiece? Nah. But All Right, one of the great records. Then going For Sale, another dope record. I think I just like that beat. It was, and he's talking as Lucy the whole time and saying, you know, I've been eyeing you since your first album. Now, I heard Prez on there, but let me introduce you to this other life. Look what I did for all these other rappers and blah, 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 and things of that nature. And it's just like, man, the story he's weaving within this album is just second to none, man. That's why this album is so held up to the prestige levels it is. Like it holds weight over Good Kid or Damn, just because the storyline is like it's a well-written novel. Like it's just amazing. Where he mentions, like, you know, returning back home, and whether that could be Compton, or I think another thing that I didn't mention that I think was a big impact on this album was him going to Africa. And I think that song is related back to that, like coming back home and realizing all the stuff that you thought were important is maybe not important. Maybe you should change your perspective on things. And like the hook say, like, I know everything. I know blah, 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 blah. And then all this, I thought I knew everything. And that's till I came back home. And like the hook, we've been waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you. Over this like jazzy hip hop beat is just dope, man. Like returning home, like I said, whether that been Compton or his trip to Africa, motherland, which is probably why it's called Mama, like the motherland. Just returning him, at this point in the album, it returns him back to the self that he was before, prior to fame, and the evilness that haunted him before then, a bit, because then we go into like how hood politics, and that's dope. Was a friend on the voicemail, just like, you know, don't tell me you get on some Hollywood shit and blah, blah, blah. And he goes back into, like, to me, it sounds like the Mad City Kendrick, back Compton, hood politics. Like, I've been A1 since day one. And he talks about the control verse and how that could fuck up the game, and talking to Hove. And he uses the Hove line. Like, it's funny how one first record could fuck up the game. And then he goes into how much a dollar really costs, which I think is like, it's such an amazing record. Like, he talks about being in Africa and at a gas station, and then like a panhandler comes up to him, and he could tell that he's, you know, from his surroundings that he grew up in Compton, all the panhandlers on drugs, or they want money to spend it recklessly on things that's just not worth it. And come to find out at the end, like, the panhandler is God, right? The panhandler says to him in the third verse, he says, He looked at me and said, "Your potential is bittersweet." I looked at him. And said, "Every nickel was mine to keep." He looked at me and said, "Know the truth, and it'll set you free." You're looking at the Messiah, the Son of Jehovah, the higher power, the choir that spoke the word, the Holy Spirit, the nerve of Nazareth. I'll tell you how much a dollar really costs. The price of having a spot in heaven. Embrace your loss. I am God. Like, God damn. Just to break the star where he was at, just to see like a panhandler and his ignorance, and like I said, a thing that probably haunts him in his whole existence, of not his whole existence, but one thing that really haunts him is losing everything that he just gained, right? So him is like, I'm not giving you no money. I need to keep all my, like he says, every nickel is mine to keep. I earned this, and blah blah blah. And the panhandler is like, well, you know what a dollar really costs? The price of a spot in heaven that you just lost. Like, I am God. And like, I just think that's just dope. Like, and then just to end the song like that is just, come on, man. Complexion's dope. Just the whole story of just how he said, he used to, obviously black women is queen and he loves his black women, but he used to treat other women wrong just for their skin tone. And he had a conversation with a friend and was like, you got to admire women. Like, a woman is woman, no matter the shade and things of that nature. Like, that's why I say complexion. It's what is it? Complexion. It don't mean a thing. Like, it's just the color, man. So I think that was dope to, on a pro black album, to have a song like Complexion. And he's like talking about, I made a flower out of cotton just to kick it with you and things of that nature. It's just amazing. Black of the Berry, and he's like, I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015, and he names all these things, how white people hate black people, white people hate the two verses, and then he gets to the end of the third verse and he's like, he been telling us the whole song, I'm gonna show you why I'm a hypocrite. And he wasn't saying it. Then he gets to the last verse and was like, oh yeah, why should I weep when Trayvon Martin is in the street when gangbanging make me kill a nigga blacker than me? Hypocrite. The man's a really fucking great poet, man. You ain't got a lot of kick it. I love how he could have just left the single version, but he turned it into like this live performance in Compton, and people start fighting, and then he gives this message of just like, we can't be doing this. Like, we gotta uplift each other. We can't be going, I'm doing an event for y'all and y'all about to kill each other out here, and there's kids out here, there's babies out here, and they killing us already. We don't need to kill ourselves. We need to uplift ourselves. And just to show that he is in a position just to halt all of that is powerful in itself, and says a lot about Kendrick Lamar. Like, because a lot of rappers in his position don't even speak upon that. Like, I won't mention any names, but it's rappers in his seat that don't even talk about that. Like, you don't even hear him talk about anything except themselves. So I thought it was just amazing that he did that. Then Mortal Man, to end it and to have that conversation with Tupac at the end, and like, y'all always tear down your idols no matter who they are. Like, when the shit hit the fan, are you still a fan? And it reminds me of like everybody he mentioned, Kanye, like everything that, like, how we build these people, Michael Jackson, we build these people up, we build them up, and then we let the media and all these people who are not in the culture dictate how we feel about that person, and we just let them burn our legends and beat them to the ground. And all of our legends seem to, like, for the most part, just perish and with a tainted legacy. And I just think, like you said, there ain't nothing like, like, I want you to be like Nelson, like things of that nature. So I just thought that was a great way to end the record. Let me get into my favorite songs. I'm gonna go with All Right, These Walls, and Mortal Man. Those are my and Wesley's Theory as a bonus. Worst song, I'm gonna go with You Ain't Gotta Lie. I just think that song was just like, I get why I was on there, but it's one of the songs I listen to the least, and it has a little replay value for me. Best line, he says, how many leaders you said you needed and left them for dead? Is it Moses? Is it Huey Newton? Is it Detroit Red? Is it Martin Luther, JFK, shooter, you assassin? Is it Jackie? Is it Jesse? Oh, now it's Michael Jackson. Like, when shit hit the fan, are you still a fan? That man gave us Billie Jean. You say he touched those kids? like when shit hit the fan, is you still a fan? I just think, and then the fact that also the part where he says, like, the ghost of Mandela, hold my flow, stay propellant. Let these words be your earth and moon and consume every message. I just think just that whole part is just dope. Let's wrap this up. In closing, though, like I said, To Pimp a Butterfly, my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. I think this album has so many messages and themes weaved within it. Like I said, self-doubt, hood, politics, suicidal thoughts, women, and just love, hate, Like everything that you could think of is weaved into this album, and this is just a great story. It's truth. It's a great piece of art. The cover is art in itself, to have all the homies shirtless in front of the White House. Like everything about this album is just magnificent. I think this is his this is his body of work when it's all said and done. His career is far from over. He only has 3 albums, 4 if you're including Section 80, but this album will be the one that when we're all dust and fossils and they digging up stuff and they find the To Pimp a Butterfly vinyl and like, what is this? And then playing like, oh my gosh, this what was going on? Like, it tells a perfect story, and I'm just happy that it, to speak about it and give it his flowers and just appreciate it while it's here and while I'm here and while he's here. And it's just a great album, man. Like I said, one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar albums. I think it's a pivotal album in hip hop and music in general. Won the Rap Album of the Year at the Grammys. He should have won for Good Kid, Mad City as well. But if he didn't win this one, yeah, like it would have been really nuts. But again, I'm Tatum. Flowers to Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly. Peace.